How we doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Getting Jiggly With It. I'm Will, and today we're opening the newest two packs for Marvel Champions, and that is Rogue and Gambit. The first two X-Men packs I'm opening. I do have all the other X-Men content. We just moved and had lots going on in our life when those two released, but at least I'll get these two open for you, show you what the decks are, show you all the new cards, and you guys can make a decision whether or not you want to buy these. Again, link down below to Amazon if you do. With that said, let me go ahead and flip over the camera and we will get into the packs. All right, so here we go. We have Gambit and Rogue. Let's go ahead and start with Gambit because technically I received him first. I would have opened these earlier, but Rogue took a little while to get here, so she must have gotten lost in the mail. Didn't know how to find her way here. She should have flown herself instead of using UPS, I guess. So of course, the first thing we always do is show off the wonderful little art paper that comes into it. I've seen people do some fun things with these where they, take them and put them in frames, posters. Getting rid of these creases is my biggest gripe. But of course, it does have any type of keywords that pertain to that character. So you have piercing, range, team up, and villainous. And then Gambit is a justice deck. It has been a while, so I'm probably not going to be as knowledgeable. I had to say I was ever knowledgeable to begin with in this game. On the card effects, so we're probably just going to read the cards and go from there. All right. So we'll start with his alter ego form. All right. Make sure I've got this in the right position. Yeah, I want to make sure. I want to see if I can rest my elbow or not. Well, no, I can't rest my elbow because I can't read at that distance. So Remy LeBeau, 3 recovery, mutant and thief. Thief extraordinaire, action, thwart, exhaust Remy LeBeau, and look at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. Discard one of those cards, remove threat from a scheme equal to the number of boost icons on that card. All right, so he's able to do some thwarting. Next is his hero side. So 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense, thief and X-Men. Charge discard, action, place 1 charge, counter here, limit 1 per round. Throw discard, interrupt. When you play an attack event, remove up to 3 charge counters from here. That event deals 1 damage for each counter removed. So basically you do 3 damage by him throwing 3 cards. It only makes sense that his ally is going to be Rogue. So thwart 2, attack 2, reduce the cost to play Rogue by 1 for each charge counter on your identity, and she has toughness. So basically you can play Rogue for free once you get your 3 charge counters. Thieves Guild, put this like this so I make sure they all go back in the right order. Thieves Guild, support. Guild, alter ego response. After you resolve your Thief Extraordinaire ability, exhaust the Thieves Guild, remove 1 threat from a scheme. This removes the last threat. You get to draw a card. Upgrade, item weapon, hero interrupt. When an enemy attack exhaust Gambit's staff, deal 1 damage to that enemy. We've got Gambit's guild armor as an upgrade. Hero response, after Gambit defends against an attack and takes no damage, exhaust Gambit's guild armor and ready Gambit. All right, so basically you block and then you get to ready. Charge card, attack superpower. So this is an event, so this is one of the ones that's going to be able to use his charges. Attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy. For this attack, if Gambit's throw decard ability was removed at least 1 counter, it gains ranged, 2 counters, it also gains piercing, 3 counters, the attack also gains overkill. So yeah, so you definitely want to build up your charges because it's not only going to help you bring out Rogue, it's going to help you do some additional things with his event card. All right. Royal Flush. So attack, event, hero action, attack, place 1 counter on Gambit, deal 0 damage to an enemy, deal 0 damage to an enemy, deal 0 damage to an enemy. I'm confused. That makes no sense. Now let me read his thing again. When you play an attack event, remove up to 3 charges here. That event deals 1 damage for each counter removed. Okay, so I'm guessing you replace, when it says deal 0 damage, it's the number of charges you remove. but now you'll do it to 3 different enemies. I'm guessing. If anybody's got a better idea, well, let me know, because that seems weird to say 0, 0, 0. Natural agility, event, defense, superpower, hero interrupt, defense. When you defend against an attack, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. For each charge counter on Gambit, you get +1 defense for that attack. All right, so 2 of those. Creole Charmer, thwart. Rogue is going to beat you up. Alter ego action, thwart. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. If that removes the last threat from the scheme, you get to confuse the villain. All right. Molecular acceleration, hero interrupt. When you spin this card, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. All right, so that's another way to get the charge counters that you need. Bishop, ally, 2 thwart, 0 attack. He's an X-Men response. After an enemy attacks you, place 1 energy counter here. Interrupt, when Bishop attacks, remove each energy counter from him. For each counter discarded this way, he gets +2 attack for the attack to a maximum of +6 attack. Wow, okay. So he can get up to 6 attack. So after an enemy attacks you, meaning me, the player, in any way, I guess, you add to Bishop. The U is very confusing in Marvel Champions. Dazzler, 2/2. After Dazzler enters play, confuse an enemy. That's not bad. All right, next is operative skill. Uses 3 operative counters, max 1 per player. Interrupt, when you thwart, remove 1 operative counter from here. That thwart removes 1 additional threat. Confused. How do you add the operative counters to it, though? Uses? Oh, okay, uses. I guess you get 3. Max 1 per player. But you got 3 in his deck. Wow, that verbiage is horrible. Like, they're making the game more confusing. Like, it's honestly the reason Oddity doesn't want to play with me. Is because they just keep adding words that don't make sense. Uses. So your uses is 3 operative counters. It's a max of 1 per player. So if you're playing 2 players, that's 2 operative counters. I don't know. It makes no sense the way that's written. Yeah, this deck's going to be fun to play. I'm just going to be making up rules probably. Stealth strike, attack, hero attack, action, attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. That enemy is defeated by this attack. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. So again, very common with your Justice deck, right? Removing threat from the schemes. Breaking and entering. So breaking and entering, play only if your identity has spy or thief trait. Action, thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. All right. Passion for justice. So this is use max 2 per deck. Interrupt, when you spin this card to play 1 thwart event, that event removes 1 additional threat. So this is your wild card as well. All right, your commons, you got Professor X. It's weird that Professor X is coming in this late unless there's Professor X in some of the other decks. 3 thwart, 0 attack. Psionic X-Men, force response. After Professor X enters play, choose 1. Confuse the villain, stun a minion, or ready an X-Men character. At the end of this round, if Professor X is still in play, discard him. Okay, so he's very similar to Fury. Fury did the same thing if I remember correctly. X Mansion, which I think is going to be similar to Avengers Mansion. Location, alter ego action, exhaust X Mansion, heal 1 from a mutant or X-Men. Any players whose alter ego has the mutant trait may trigger this ability. Beauty and the Thief. So attack, thwart, team up, Gambit and Rogue, max 1 per deck. Hero action, attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy, remove 4 threat from a scheme. So if you're playing with both of them and they're both on the board, which is how we would end up playing it, you can use that card. Hit and run, hero action, attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. And you got 3 of those. Mutant education. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait. Alter ego action, choose up to 2 identity-specific cards in your discard pile and shuffle them in your deck. If X Mansion is in play, draw a card. So you want to have the mansion out before you start educating kids. That thematically makes sense. So they did change the energy card. So this, again, the first time I'm seeing it, but energy is now Psylocke, or not Psylocke, holy cow, Jean Grey. Phoenix. Genius is, of course, Beast. Strength is somebody I'm not aware of, but I have heard from somebody else that he doesn't make sense for strength. I'm not familiar with him. X-Men are my favorite, but I think he's a newer X-Men character. And somebody was like, oh, he looks cool, let's put him on a card. So his obligation is guild business. Give to Remy alter ego, exhaust Remy, and spend a lightning resource to remove guild business from the game. He does get +1 card while it is with him. Belladonna is his nemesis, or minion for his nemesis. 2/3 assassin elite, quick strike toughness, forced response. After Belladonna attacks and defeats a character, place 2 threat on the main scheme. Gambit's so that is his nemesis minion. All right. Her scheme is the Assassin's Guild. Force response after an assassin minion attacks and defeats a character, place 2 threat here. And it does have an acceleration there. Guild Assassin. So this is another minion, 1, 2, and 2. Quick strike, which means they're going to attack you. Force response after Guild Assassin attacks and defeats a character, place 1 threat on the main scheme. So you don't want them to kill anybody. Which means now you can't use your allies as cannon fodder. All right, and then this one is, went too far. Assassination attempt. When revealed, each assassin minion attacks you, even if they're in alter ego form. If there's no assassin minions in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for an assassin minion and reveal it, which means then it's going to go into play. All right, so these are the extra cards that can be added to any deck or to Gambit. Usually they're designed around the deck that you have, that they come with, so that way you can play the other... I don't know. I'm at a lost word. You can play the other things. Aggression. What is it? Aggression? Oh, this is just aggression, so never mind. Whatever. Okay, these are extra cards. War Room. Location, maximum player response. After an ally attacks and defeats a minion, exhaust War Room. Remove 1 threat from the scheme. So you usually get 3 of those. Yep. A new event card. Cost 0, X-Men Instruction. Play only if you're a mutant. Alter ego, choose up to 2 X-Men allies in your discard pile, shuffle them into your deck. The X-Mansion is a play, you get to draw 1 card. So I kind of like that with the X-Mansion stuff where they got the comboing with some of these cards. So it kind of encouraged, like, not to say the previous ones didn't have you want to get certain cards out into play, but this one is explicitly kind of saying, get your mansion out into play. All right, and then this is the extra module that you can add to any game. So Exodus is a minion, 1/1. He's an Acolyte. Retaliate, 1 villainous. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a psionic shield attachment. Attach it to Exodus, and then shuffle. The scheme for this is Herald of Avalon side scheme. When defeated, the player who defeated the scheme searches the encounter deck and discard pile for Exodus and reveals him. Well, he's coming out no matter what then, isn't he? And it's +1 card during the villain's turn. Earlier, I think I just said +1 card, but it's during the villain's turn. All right, Psionic Shield. So this is an attachment attached to a minion. Otherwise, Psionic Shield gains Surge. So there has to be a minion in play. That's not good. Forced interrupt when attached to a minion would leave play. Instead, heal all damage for that minion and put this back into play. Then discard the attachment. Whoosh. So there's 2 of those. So basically, they just come back. Defeat a minion, it's going to come back. You got to defeat it again. And then last is Acolyte Frenzy. Revealed, each Acolyte minion engaged with you activates against you. If you're not engaged with an Acolyte minion, the card gains Surge. And then it does have a boost on the villain if you are stunned and confused. So, no bueno. All right. So that was Gambit. So let's go ahead and go over to Rogue. These were the 2 that I was really hoping they'd make because they're probably 2 of my favorite X-Men characters. I'd have to probably say Gambit's only a favorite because of Rogue. I'd probably have to say, you know, if I wanted to pick a favorite male character, that would be Nightcrawler. I really like Nightcrawler. Although there's a female Nightcrawler now. I don't know how much she's been in the comics. She was around back in 2008. I think there's a thing, Nightcrawler kills the Marvel Universe, and I think that's the female Nightcrawler killing the Marvel Universe. But there we go. There is the Rogue. Not a fan of the art. Not sure. I know the art on the characters is usually original art. On the cards is usually from a comic. Not a fan of the art though too much. All right. So we have our alter ego, 3 recovery, and a Marie. Set your touched upgrade aside. Withdrawn, force response after you change into this form, set touched aside. So basically you keep bringing it back by switching forms. And then Rogue is the hero form, 2/2/2 down the line. Skin contact action, attach touch to another character. You gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round, limit once per round. Force response after the player phase begins, find touched and set it aside. Okay, so you keep adding. So touched always gets set aside. I guess there's times it could be removed due to a villain, so then you wouldn't have it, which is why the alter ego says to do it too. Don't know. So here's touched. This is what you're going to be setting aside. Condition. If touched is attached to a minion, you gain overkill. A villain, you gain retaliate. Ally, you gain an aerial. And hero, you gain a stalwart. Gambit, of course, is her ally. Makes sense. 2 and 2. Gambit enters play with 3 charge counters on interrupt. When Gambit attacks, remove 1 charge counter from him. Deal 1 damage to an enemy. So basically, you're doing 3 damage while he has counters on him. Rogue's jacket. When touched is attached to a friendly character, Rogue gains thwart. When it is attached to an enemy, she gains attack. Going Rogue. That's kind of cool. Let's see here. Hero action, thwart, remove 3 threat from the scheme. If Rogue has aerial, remove 2 additional threats. So again, that's her touched. Retaliate, confuse the enemy, steward, draw 1 card. So you kind of can, if you got this in your hand, then you're going to know who you want to attach your touch to for the turn. Southern Cross. So Southern Cross attack, superpower, hero action, attack, deal 6 damage to an enemy. If Rogue has aerial, 2 additional, retaliate, stun the enemy, and steward, draw 1 card. So same thing. It looks like a lot of hers. You're going to want to know where you put that touched based on the cards in your hand and what you're trying to accomplish. That's actually really neat. Next is energy transfer, superpower, hero action, attach touch to a character other than Rogue and deal 2 damage to that character. Heal 2 damage from Rogue and ready her. You gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round. So you still get the attached traits, but you're healing and readying yourself. So double whammy there. Bulletproof. Hero interrupt defense. When an enemy with touched attached to it attacks, prevent all damage from that attack and gain the tough status card. Wow. So if you know that kind of more strategy then again too, because it's like, okay, do I attach to the villain because he's guaranteed to attack me next turn, even though I might not need the trait, or do I, attach it to a minion because I know they're going to attack me and so forth. Superpower adaptation. If touched is attached to a friendly character, search its owner's discard pile for an event that belongs to the same classification as that character. Identity specific aspect or basic. Add that event to your hand. Okay, so you get a free use of your co-players, your partner's hand. All right, we got Iceman here. 1 and 2. Iceman enters play with 3 freeze counters. Response after minion enters play, remove 1 freeze counter and stun them. Very thematic. Karma is a 0/0, and she's only got 1 hit point. Oh, ish. Response after you play Karma from your hand, choose a non-elite minion. While Karma is in play, take control of that minion and treat it as if it's a controlled ally with a blank text box. Its thwart is equal to its printed scheme, and it takes 2 consequential damage after it thwarts or attacks. Oh, that, okay. So now I'm fine with her being like, 0, 0, and 1, because you're basically getting whatever minions in play to use against. Armor, one that we were very disappointed didn't show up in Marvel United. I think they could have done a really cool mold with clear plastic for her. Even if they couldn't do the full body, maybe just do like an arm or a leg, just showing her going through. Either way, I digress. I think it would have just looked cool. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2. Play only if you have the X-Men trait and get toughness. Unflappable Cyclops. Condition, play under a player's control, max 1 per player response after you defend against an attack, and take no damage. Exhaust unflappable to draw a card. So 3. Next is Judoku skill? Judka skill. Not sure what that is. Use 3 judo counters. Oh, it's a judo. Okay. Max 1 per player. See, again, I don't get that. Uses 3 judo counters. Max 1 per player. So I'm going to have to look that up. Hopefully it's described somewhere, or somebody's let me know in the comments, because that makes no sense. Interrupt. When you defend against an attack, remove 1 judo counter from here. That enemy gets -2 from the attack. Preemptive strike. Hero interrupt. Defense. When a boost card is turned face up while the villain attacks, cancel all boost icons on that card. Then deal 1 damage to the villain for each boost icon canceled this way. I want to feel like that card's a reprint with just the X-Men art. Not today. Hero interrupt. Defense. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets 2 defense for the attack. If you take no damage from this attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. So again, very defense heavy, makes sense for Rogue. She's kind of the tank of them after she got Captain Marvel's abilities. Defensive energy, max 2 per deck, hero interrupt. When you spin this card to play a defense event, draw 1 card. So that's her wild. Moira McTaggart. So play only if your identity is mutant, of course. Response, after a mutant alter ego changes into hero form, exhausts Moira McTaggart. That hero's controller draws 1 card. We got X-Gene. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait, max 1 per player. Resource, exhaust X-Gene to generate a wild resource for an identity-specific event. And Beauty and the Thief is the same, right? Because both decks are going to have it team up. And that was deal 4 damage to an enemy, remove 4 threat. So you basically deal damage, remove threat. Your normal double power cards. Okay. So her obligation is Deadly Touch. Give to Anna Marie. If touched is attached to a friendly character, deal 2 damage to that character, discard this card. If touched is not attached to a friendly character, place 2 threat on the main scheme, discard this card. So you can't get rid of it. It's straight discard. It can keep coming. Wow. I don't know how many other obligations can't be gotten rid of. Mystique, 1 and 1. Toughness and Villainous. After Mystique engages you, search the encounter deck on discard pile and set aside area for a copy of Misled Treachery and shuffle it into play. I'm guessing that's going to be the next card. Nope, not yet. It's got to be in here somewhere. Mystique's Manipulations. When defeated, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Misled Treachery and shuffle it into your deck. Going to keep getting those, I'm guessing. And then that does have acceleration. Misled Treachery. There we go. Shapeshifter. When revealed, shuffle this card into your deck. This card gains Surge. Oh, that's bad. After this card enters your hand, place 2 threat on the main scheme. You may discard this card from your hand at the end of the player phase like any other card. But you're discarding it. Does that mean it goes back to your hand? All right, well, that was it for that. So now, same thing. These are the extra cards. So if you want to play a different... Normally, these cards are designed to play with that character. However, again, you can put them in anybody's deck, really. So this is the leadership cards, additional leadership cards. You have MedLab, max 1 per player response. After an ally is defeated, consequential damage Exhaust Med Lab, place it here, limit one ally at a time. Oh, so you get to heal them. Okay. Alter Eco action, Exhaust Med Lab, play the ally here as if it was in your hand. It enters play exhausted. So you have to spend the resources to get them back into play, though. Okay. Right? And then the Reavers are the extra little module. I like that they're adding these modules. I mean, it was cool that they gave you other cards to enhance your decks, but I think the modules are really cool to have as something extra thematically with the characters. So minion 1/1, Reaver, Teamwork Reaver, Villainous. Forced response. After Donald Pierce engages you, reveal the topmost Reaver minion from the discard pile. All right. Skullbuster. 2/2. Teamwork Reaver again. Toughness. Forced response. After Skullbuster engages you, place one threat on the main scheme for each Reaver engaged with you. Well, that is not good. Bonebreaker. Another Reaver, because, you know, these are the Reavers. 1/3. Teamwork Reaver. Toughness. Forced interrupt. After Bonebreaker engages you, take one indirect damage for each Reaver that is engaged. See a theme here now, guys. Wade Cole, 1/2, Teamwork Reaver. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the Cybernetic Enhancement attachment. Attach it to Wade and Shuffle. Murray Reese, 1/2, Reaver, Teamwork Reaver. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the Cybernetic Enhancement and attach it to him as well. Shuffle. The Reaver's Side Scheme. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards cards from the encounter deck until a Reaver minion is discarded, then reveals that minion. And then, of course, an extra card for the villain. And then here's the Cybernetic Enhancements. So it is a tech attached to a minion, otherwise this card gains surge. Attached minion cannot take damage. That's not good. Force response after the attached minion attacks, discard. Okay, so they, for one turn, they're going to have an enhanced attack. All right, guys, there we go. Those are the latest 2 packs that came out for Marvel Champions, specifically, you know, X-Men packs. If you want to watch this gameplay, of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So once we do get around to being able to play Marvel Champions again, you guys can watch us play these 2 characters. Let us know which of the X-Men villains, we've got everything, Mojo and the big box. Let us know who you want to see us play against Rogue and Gambit. Until then, guys, peace.